Hello everyone, and welcome to something different for me. I thought I would give a video a shot, a video review. Since I haven't done that before, I've done podcast recordings, which are obviously audio. So you've heard my voice, you've seen me, you've seen my words, but now you could actually see my face while I talk about a movie. And yeah, that's the general idea for today. I just thought in general it would be nice to try something different. This would be an every now and then thing, probably once a week at most, but a nice change of pace, if anything. So that's the idea behind this. I hope you enjoy it. I'm obviously getting used to the idea of using my basement as a setup. As you can see, wall of movies back here, and a light I don't quite know what to do with yet. There's a sleeping dog down here who you can't see, so a lot going on. And of course I'm going to have to get used to adjusting eye levels. I might have to wear sunglasses just to hide it. I've seen other people do it. I don't want to do it, but I will probably end up having to do it. So that's the general gist. So today's movie, as indicated from the intro, it is The Wretched. And The Wretched it was originally made in 2019. It is a movie by the Pierce brothers, and it stars John Paul Howard, Piper Curda, Zara Mailer, Kevin Bigley, Gabriella Wizada Bloomgarden, and Richard Ellis. And it all follows, it takes place in the 80s, so it has definitely one of those kind of old school vibes to it. And it follows a guy named Ben, a kid named Ben, who's gone to live with his dad after some trouble. He's got a broken arm. They don't really go into it so much. But yeah, so he's got a broken arm, and so he's already in a bit of trouble as it is. And then he starts to think something weird is going on with his neighbor, and it turns out there might be a witch thing going on. A witch may have possessed his neighbor. So that's the general setup. And interesting fun fact, and not so fun actually, but this movie actually is the first film apparently since Avatar to top the box office for 6 consecutive weekends. And I'm sure you're wondering, how is that possible? I've never heard of this movie. If you have heard of it, good for you, but most people haven't. And the reason it was at the top of the box office was because of the pandemic. Because everything's about the pandemic now. I'm not sure if you realize this, but it is genuinely... I find myself every time that I watch anything, it becomes about the pandemic, whether it is or it isn't. So I watched John Wick, and it became about fighting the pandemic. Don't know why. It just did. In my head, that's where I was. So, of course, this movie definitely feels a lot of overlap because the witch, as it operates within the film, is kind of somebody who attacks and then infests a body. And then you get to see a lot of creepy body stuff, a lot of things like that. So that's the general setup for what the witch does. So it was hard to ignore in very many ways. So I really like this. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice mixture kind of Rear Window and other things and other like possession movies because Ben is always viewing everything from afar, but he's also kind of new and he's also been in trouble a lot. Clearly, as indicated, like he doesn't seem to want to talk about what happened with the cast, and yeah, and why else do you get sent to live with your dad in the quiet port town? So yeah, so it's a nice mixture of Rear Window. So he's constantly looking over, trying to see what's going on, and the neighbors are like, "What are you doing over at our house?" He's like, "I saw something creepy," and yeah, they're playing kind of fast and keeping things on the down low. And the way that the witch manifests is very cool because it does do the body possession thing, but it also has very specific powers, which I won't go into too many details about. But it means it's even harder to fight because nobody believes Ben to begin with, and then she can affect memory. I won't go into how exactly, but the witch can affect memory. So that much is really, really cool. The other things that I like are the acting is very good. All the leads are fantastic. I really liked Piper Curda as Mallory. Mallory is a friend of Ben, who is, they end up working in like a marina together, and she's kind of the cool, fun girl, while Ben keeps looking at the pretty popular girl. But yeah, I just like her acting and her attitude, and all of that is a lot of fun. So that's a really good. In terms of what kind of scares you can expect, the movie derives a lot, and this is where I thought of Rear Window. It's a lot of anytime Ben sees somebody see him. That seems to be the big connective tissue with all this, is that it's like him being noticed and being discovered is actually the biggest thing. And then there are a couple of like home invasion scenes and a couple of unexpectedly gross moments that seem to pop out of nowhere. So yeah, it definitely works really, really well. And yeah, this movie also, and I'm not going to spoil anything big. I'm being intentionally vague, but the movie also uses something that I hate in other movies, but really like here. I think once you see the movie, uh, you'll know what I am talking about. So in terms of the kinds of scares, we do have, like, occasional jump scares, but also just atmosphere, and it really captures the idea. Well, a lot of movies like this do this, but it's the idea of like being a teenager and being somebody who's also a troublemaker, and then nobody believes you, and then also everybody around you is unfamiliar and suspicious and potentially possessed. So it all plays with that really well. And like I said, sometimes it's gross out moments, sometimes it's jump scare moments, sometimes it's home invasion moments. It's a little bit of everything, and yeah, so it's all a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I think you would too. It's up for rental right now. I don't believe it has a home release yet, but yeah. So if you are interested in kind of a change of pace for a horror movie, give it a shot. So that's The Wretched.